Hi everyone, in this video we're going to be talking about the diatonic church modes, or for short you can call them the modes. So let's break down the terms first. Diatonic is a term that means belonging to a key. Diatonic, if a pitch is diatonic, it belongs in a key. So say the pitch A is a diatonic to G major, but the pitch A sharp is not diatonic to G major. It's what we would call chromatic. So diatonic, belonging in a key. They're called church modes because that's where they came from, the early church. Think monks chanting. And modes is just a term we use to distinguish from these being scales because they're distinct from scales. So diatonic, church modes, or you can call them just the modes. Basically what they are major scales starting and ending on different notes. So let's take the key of C, for instance. So in the key of C, if I wrote from scale degree 1 to scale degree 1, or from do to do, if you prefer, yes, it's a major scale, agree, but when we're talking about modes, a collection of pitches from 1 to 1 or from do to do is what is called Ionian Mode. Ionian Mode. Okay, so still sticking in the key of C now, what if I wrote from D to D, or from scale degree 2 to scale degree 2, or from re to re in any key? This is not a collection of pitches like we've seen before. It's a mode, and it is called Dorian. 2 to 2 in any key is Dorian. So I could write E to E in the key of D, and that would be re to re, 2 to 2. That would be Dorian mode. Okay, continuing the pattern, if I went from 3 to 3 in any key, from me to me in any key, I'm showing you in C, but it could be in any key. Me to me, 3 to 3, is going to be what we call Phrygian mode. Phrygian, 3 to 3. Okay, so make one of these for each factor of the scale. So now from fa, or from 4, if I went from fa to fa, or 4 to 4 in any key, it is called Lydian mode. Lydian, 4 to 4 in any key. Likewise, if I keep going, now I'm going to go G to G. Oh, 2 Fs. Or 5 to 5, or so to so in any key. This is called Mixolydian. Next, 6 to 6, la to la, or in this case, A to A, is what is called Aeolian Mode. And you might be looking at that saying, hey, isn't that natural minor? You would be correct, and we'll talk about that in a second. One more. From B to B, or from 7 to 7, or from T to T, whichever you prefer, is going to be what we call Locrian mode. And there they are, the 7 modes. So you need to memorize Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian, and know that Dorian is 2 to 2, Phrygian is 3 to 3, Aeolian is 6 to 6, etc. So also an alternate way to think about these is to think of what scale that you already know that they are closest to. Because say Dorian, it's fine to think that it's 2 to 2 in a key, re to re in a key, but you might want to think a Dorian mode mimics such and such a scale in a way that's been altered. So we've already pointed out 2 of these, that an alternate way of thinking of the Ionian mode is just to think of it as the major scale. And the alternate way for thinking of Aeolian is that it's natural minor. So Ionian, same as major. Aeolian is same as natural minor. So let's see how these other ones relate to scales that we're already familiar with, like typical major and minor scales. If you look at Dorian, and in this case, D, Dorian, we would want to know what kind of D scale is this closest to? Well, the answer here is that it's closest to natural minor, but the difference is that a D natural minor scale would have the B flat, and this has a B natural. So we can say at a Dorian mode, another way to express Dorian mode is to say that it's natural minor with a raised 6, right? The B flat would go to B natural. Phrygian mode is also closest to natural minor, and it's going to have a lowered rather, second. Because think to write E natural minor, it would have to be F sharp, so we have F natural. So you could write Phrygian by thinking 3 to 3, or natural minor with a flat 2. You know, we've talked before in these videos about like some ways are easy for writing, like music theory, write this scale, write this mode, and other ways are easy for playing your instrument. I think what I'm writing in the red here is if you had to play these on your instrument, probably how you would conceptualize them. Like it's easier to say I'm going to play natural minor scale and raise the 6, I think, than I'm going to play 2 to 2 in such and such a key. But again, it's all tools in the toolbox way for you to think of it. Lydian is closest to a major scale. It's going to have a sharp 4. Think if this is F major, it would have B flat. We have B natural. Mixolydian, also closest to major. It's going to have a flat 7. Should have F sharp. If it was G major, it has F natural. So again, you know, if you were learning about jazz improv and your teacher said, okay, I'm going to teach you this Mixolydian mode, which is good for jazz improv, play a major scale but lower 7, right? They're not going to say play 5 to 5 in whatever key. They're going to say play the major scale and lower 7. Locrian's tough because you have to make 2 alterations to it. It's closest to natural minor, but what would be the difference here? In natural minor, in B natural minor, we'd have C sharp, so we have C natural, so that's lowered 2nd. We'd also have F sharp, we have F natural, so that's a lowered 5th. Again, all just different ways to think about this. But the important takeaway here is that you memorize the terms and you know that they're affiliated with what number, what scale, degree. All right, so let's talk about how you might be asked about this. Like everything we do in theory, you need to be able to identify and write, and then eventually listen. But, you know, now let's just talk about writing. So say you were asked to write G Dorian. G Dorian. The most important thing you need to know to start with is that G Dorian starts on G. Actually, all of these. E flat Mixolydian starts on E flat. A Lydian starts on A. F sharp Locrian starts on F sharp. It's a common mistake is that students will start thinking about the key and write the scale of the key rather than the starting note. And now's a good time to point out that the starting note of a mode is not called a tonic like we have in scales. It is called a final. Modes don't have tonics, they have finals. So when you're writing a mode, start with the final. Do the final first. If G Dorian is what they want you to write, then you should start out by writing G to G on the staff. Get that out of the way first. G to G on the staff. Now, Dorian is a mode that is built on scale degree 2. So now the question is, G is 2. G is 2 in what key? In what key is G2, right? If it's Dorian, it means it needs to be re to re, 2 to 2. And if it's G Dorian, I want to know the scale in which G is 2. And that is in F major. So that means I put the key signature for F major at the beginning of the line, which is 1 flat, and I'm done. That's G Dorian, G to G in the key of F. So when you do these, write the final, then whatever mode it is, think of the number, and then the final is that number in what key. So if you want to pause and try 1, 2, and 3 here, then we can talk about it after. But when you're writing the E flat and the F sharp ones, don't worry about adding in the E flat or the F sharp until you put the key signature. You'll get that accidental in the key signature. So just write E to E and F to F for that one, and those other notes will come. Okay, try those and we'll go over it. E flat Mixolydian. First thing is to write E to E. Okay, Mixolydian is a mode built on 5. E flat is 5 in what key? A flat is the answer. So I put the key signature for A flat up here, and I'm done. And you might notice if you want to think about the Mixolydian being major with a flat 7, you could have written E flat major with 3 flats in the key signature and added a D flat, and you would have got the same result that I have here, an E flat major scale with a D flat in it. Okay? A Lydian. First thing you should do is write A to A on the staff. Lydian is a mode built on 4. A is 4. In what key? Answer is E major. So I'm going to write the key for E, even though I didn't leave a lot of room. And there we go. Or you could think Lydian is major with a sharp 4. This is an A scale with a D sharp, a sharp 4 in it. Either way, you get the same answer. F sharp Locrian. Start with the final by writing F to F. Again, don't worry about the sharp. You'll get it in the key signature. Locrian is a mode built on 7. F sharp is 7 in what key? F sharp is the leading tone in what key? The answer is G major, which is 1 sharp. F sharp Locrian. That's how you write them. That's how you write them. Now, the other way that you're going to be asked about these, like I said, is to identify them. And typically when you're asked to identify them, you're given a collection of pitches with accidentals in them. So if you notice, there's no key signatures here, and the modes are presented with accidentals. So how do we figure out the modes? So we need 2 pieces of information here. We need the final, the pitch that it starts on, and the mode type. That's the Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian. So again, just like with writing them, I suggest that you do the final first. This mode in the example here starts on A. So that means it is A something. We'll figure out the something in a second. Likewise, number 1 is E something. Number 2 is A flat something. Number 3 is B something. Do that first. Do the final first before you even start thinking about the key signature. Then when you're ready to think about the key signature, what you should do is extract a key signature out based on the accidentals. Now, because modes are just major scales in a different order, the accidentals will always appear in the order of sharps or flats. So if I count and I see there's 3 sharps, I know that it's F, C, and G. It's not going to be like G, D, and E, right? They always occur in the order of sharps or flats. So in this example, it's A something. What does my key signature tell me? 2 flats. 2 flats is what key? B flat. Now, how do I determine the mode? A is what number in the key of B flat? A is the leading tone in B flat. A is 7. The mode built on 7 is Locrian. So this is A Locrian. Why don't you try 1, 2, and 3, and then we'll talk about it. Number 1 is E something. Get that out of the way first. Extract a key signature. There's 3 sharps. I don't even have to check what they are. If there's 3, I know that it's F, C, and G, which is what key? 3 sharps? A major. E is what number in the key of A? 5. The mode built on 5 is Mixolydian. So this is E Mixolydian. And again, notice that it's E major with a flat 7. That would have been D sharp if it was E major. Okay, next one. Like we said, is A flat something. Pull the key. Now, how many accidentals? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did you count 7? If you did, you counted the A flat twice. Don't do that. If it starts and ends on an accidental, you don't need to count the second one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 flats is what key? G flat major. A flat is what number in the key of G flat? It's going to be 2. The mode built on 2 is Dorian. This is A flat Dorian. Okay, you don't need to write the key when you're solving the puzzle on these, but it can help. Last one is B something. Starts on B. Pull out the key, 2 sharps. 2 sharps is what major key? D. B is what number in the key of D? It's 6, so that means this is B Aeolian, which I understand is natural minor, but if the question is asking you what mode is this, you got to call it Aeolian and not natural minor. Okay, so a lot there. All of the mode types, how to write them, and how to identify them.